What's going on, everybody? J-Hal here, and I'm going to bring you guys, this is a Greater Rift 42. Not particularly high, but it's getting up there, and we're working our way up. The leaderboards got reset last night with the end of Season 1, so everything got reset and we're working our way up. The issue that we're having is we're still having latency issues in the sense that it's not that I have a bad connection, it's just that the rifts are still lagging, and you're going to see I just shot there and nothing came out. And again, I'm double shotting there. So it's really hard to work your way up the leaderboards when stuff like this is happening. It's almost impossible. And there's a few examples throughout this gameplay to where you can see that I'm kind of vaulting, except I'm not vaulting, or I'm going all over the place. But we're going to cover the build, and that's going to be in another video that you guys have probably already seen. If not, I'll leave a link in the description for that as well as in the annotation. So the main thing that we're using here, we're still using Cluster Arrow, and this is with Maelstrom, so it's a cold build. And you're trying to make use of all the different gear, all the different stats and everything that you have going. And so the main thing is to try and effectively stay away from damage and to range yourself so that you can pop the Zeiss Stone, the legendary gem, so that you're far enough away to be able to get that extra damage bonus. Now, I'm not pushing it too hard because, like I said, the latency issues cause a great deal of problems the more things that I have in the screen. It's not due to my connection, I know that much, but it is very difficult when you're trying to pull several enemies. Now, you're seeing here that I'm utilizing the sentries with the polar station to be able to proc Bane of the Trapped and Cull the Weak, to be able to get that extra damage going on all of these enemies up here. Now, ideally, if you can push up a little bit further, your rockets that are shooting from your cluster arrow are going to pick up some extra enemies, and there you'll see at the top of the screen there's going to be some down there on the end that we're trying to get picked up. This guy back here just doesn't want to die, so we'll go ahead and we finish that guy off there. But you see we have a bunch of these really big guys, and they are very good for pushing up the bar there. But overall, you really want to be able to push up past them to be able to grab extra things that are just hiding beyond the corner or just beyond the edge of the screen, because you're going to have your pets there. They're going to be tanking pretty much for you. And here we're going to find a way to get out of danger. And there, it didn't look like I got hit by that sentry, but Diablo says I did. So that's the first death. Again, I don't know if that was just due to lag or whether I'm just not that aware of where the end of that purple bar is, but it's just part of it. The ice cubes there, they do a ton of damage. If you're not using a Unity, you definitely need to use a Unity, because that's pretty much how you can survive these higher, greater rifts, especially when that ice cube hits. You know, unless you're right on your game and your connection is just stellar, you're probably going to take at least one tick from those ice cubes. And there you're seeing that I'm shooting out, but nothing is happening. So it does make it very difficult when you're trying to do this. Understanding the map, that area on the left, the reason I didn't go left, once you play these maps enough, you realize that's actually going to go in a circle. And every one of those circles that tends to go that direction and wrap around in that particular pattern is going to have a set of elites there. So if you can understand the maps and be able to manipulate the maps so that, say, you ran over there and shot a couple things and you knew you were going to pull those elites, then that's definitely one way to do it. But being able to effectively range yourself, Jailer here, Jailer sucks. It's one of the bane of existences for all demon hunters, and it's really difficult because you have to have your bad guys on a certain edge of the screen in order to range it properly. You generally have to be shooting from the bottom up to be able to be at max range that way. If you're trying to do it, you're standing at the top and the enemy's below you, you're not going to be able to range from Jailer. So that can make it very difficult as well. Those guys, they hit really hard, so it's good to try and focus those guys down the minute they transform. The good thing is we do have our Enchantress going around and turning everything into chickens. There is a guide that I have on the channel to properly gear and spec your Enchantress, and you'll see that she does a great job of blinding stuff, of turning things into chickens, and it works really well. Now here we're stuck behind some walls. That's not exactly how we want to do it on some stair steps, but at least this elite pack is not that bad. So we sit here and we wait for everything to explode. Now, if you have enough vault, you can definitely get through there. Like I said, because of the connection issues, I was tending not to vault through areas like that because sometimes there's a split-second delay and that explosion can and will kill you. But as you can see, we are still utilizing the Sentry to be able to proc our Bane of the Trapped and Call of the Weak. Like I said, you can easily vault. You'll see my discipline is pretty much maxed out. If you are able to vault through and to be able to pull stuff from the other side and be able to pull far more monsters, which is very important when you're really trying to push the leaderboards, it's good practice. If you're just working your way up and you're doing Torment 6, I recommend trying it on there because you can pretty much vault through stuff. Make sure you're keeping an eye on your discipline. You'll get to understand it quite a bit better. But once you start getting that in play, you'll be able to run past stuff, pull something else, and work your way back the other direction. That was just bad vaulting right there. But working our way through this, again, we're not pushing the pace. We have a lot of issues that just make it very, very difficult. But overall, the gameplay of the Demon Hunter, obviously, no more standing in a corner, no more just letting stuff come to you. You have to go out and get it. And that, again, is just, you know, that's the what I was talking about. I was trying to vault, but didn't really vault. So we get back up here and we go, and we've got stuff from both sides. Like I said, if you can just get even just a warning shot, like if you were to go and shoot off to the left there, just go, it's going to shoot some rockets out, it's going to pull some enemies just like that. And if you can start pulling them from both sides, you're going to find that you're going to be able to kill stuff pretty quickly. You have a nice little area there that you can pull away from those small narrow areas to let your pets kind of tank in there. You have your Enchantress doing plenty of crowd control, which goes a long way. Here we have channeling, so we're going to go and just try. This is when we put a little bit of caution to the wind. We don't want to die because we don't want to lose the pylon buff, but it does allow us to pop our companion, get that extra damage there, and just completely unload with our cluster arrow. And there's another thing. I'm vaulting away, and it vaults me back and forth in the same direction. I don't know. I've had that issue for quite some time in terms of a little bit of glitchiness, but overall, we're keeping a solid pace here. It's a 42. You know, the leaderboards reset, I think 42s right now at the bottom 1,000, at least after 24 hours. But it's certainly going to be higher. There's already people up there at 50, and and you'll see me type out here, I have no idea what I got hit by, because that's no way I got hit by that. But hey, what are you going to do, right? We'll go ahead. We've got our purple orbs waiting there, and we'll revive and get moving here. And once we pick those up, we need to get back on the good foot because we are slightly ahead of the timer, except we don't want to get behind. Those Greater Rift bosses do take a while, so you want to make sure and be quite a ways ahead. Get out of danger there. Like I said, those guys hurt quite a bit, but having the Unity is pretty much necessary, especially when you're playing this build. If you're using the Ball Lightning build, you don't necessarily need a Unity because you're going to be trying to stay basically hidden from the enemy as much as possible, and it allows you to just kind of push pure damage. But as far as this setup goes, I would highly recommend having a Unity along with you. So here's an area, again, it's a narrow area. If I was feeling more confident in the connection, especially in these rifts, I would be vaulting right past these guys and picking up far more enemies. The fact that I just have to get through these in terms of waves does make this a little bit slower, and I feel confident in saying that we could definitely push the pace. And here you're going to see up at the top of the screen, I'm shooting rockets up there. Even our sentries are getting them out there, just trying to pull stuff from all around. And then, of course, ranging yourself. That guy is sneaking up behind us. He gets turned into a chicken. And here you'll see that I actually shoot a shot down there. And that's the example that I was trying to tell you guys, is that you might not see anything, but your rockets are going to go. And now you see that we have, while we're focused on the top area here, we now have several things coming from the bottom. And our sentries are continuing to shoot out our cluster arrows to kind of make this far more worthwhile, especially an area like this to where you're fighting on narrow paths and it's a maze, right? So there's stuff all over the place, so we can't really see what's going on up there. Like I said, if you can vault, and now you see that we have Jailer frozen, which sucks. And this is what I'm talking about. You can't see them, But so long as you have that just that little sword on there, you can arrange them so you don't necessarily get hit by a jailer. Having our pets there to be able to tank, I know that I'm probably about to be hit with a jail there, but I was trying to finish them off. Since I have awareness, that's when I tend to let it go. But as you can see, if you just kind of stay there and you have something like a jailer and you just get them right at the edge of that screen and let your pets go, if you pull back too far, your pets are going to kind of fall back with you. So if you're not familiar with that particular play style, that's something that you can definitely practice on. It works really well when you're doing it from the bottom to the top. And here's another example to where everything is just beyond the range. I think the mortars can kind of hit you there. You know, it's just part of it. But we're trying to stay back. They have jailer as well. I think we're going to get hit here in a second. But if we try, you can vault and you're impervious to damage for that brief second. You're not impervious to the cold, I can tell you that much. But here we are. You see our enchantress got hit with the jail. Our pets got hit with it. But we are right at max range. And this is pretty much one of the only ways you can survive. Jailers just simply don't get hit by it. And if it means you got to take a little bit extra damage from something else, then so be it. But that's a pretty good way of surviving jailer. And then that pretty much pushes us to the edge here to finish off the Rift Guardian. And we're going to utilize somewhat of the same strategy in terms of as soon as he comes back in, you see she teleported just a little ways away. But we try and utilize a little bit of the same strategy. It also works really well to stay behind your pets because she does send out an attack. So if you can just kind of let your pets do the tanking, they are going to die. You'll see one of them just died, another one's about to die. But they're going to come back around a little bit over time. And there you see that we already have one of them back. And that's pretty much how you can effectively tank with your pets. You see they get knocked back. They do die over time, but they come back enough. There you see the red orbs, and that just allows us to not be hit by that and let our pets take the damage. So that's the build in terms of a little bit of gameplay for you guys and how to effectively use it. Like I said, there are some things that you can potentially do different and definitely do better in terms of being able to have a stable connection there, to be able to vault to the right areas, vault to a safe place, and be able to pull more enemies. The whole thing is you want to group up more enemies than that, but you also want to be in a safe zone, or at least as much as possible. So you can definitely look at doing something a little bit different there when you are playing. But I wanted to give you guys an idea as far as how this build would work and what you can do to make it work. I know the video is out there. We just kind of put some T6 content together, but here's some Greater Rift content so you guys got a better idea on how to push this a little bit further beyond its limits. There's some other builds out there that we have videos for on the channel. Those are going to be more towards the top tier, but they're also a little bit more gear intensive. This is just pretty much a straight port over from 2.1.1 to be able to utilize the gear that you already had and to be able to make this work for you in 2.1.2. So hopefully this helped you guys. Like I said, you can definitely take this up at least to the high 40s, maybe hit that 50, especially if you have an ancient or two, or as you start to gear up with more ancients, you can definitely take it higher and higher. But I want to give you guys an idea on how to effectively use this in some manners, and hopefully this helped. You know, you're going to find some different videos out there showing some different tactics. You know, just kind of go with what works for your play style. I wanted to put something together that might be able to be beneficial towards some of those not full-time Demon Hunter players, or maybe some people that might be new to the build in general. So hopefully this helped you guys. I always appreciate you guys watching. If this did help you in any way or you liked the video, feel free to hit that like button below. If you want to check out more Diablo content, check out the channel, or if you're looking forward to more Diablo 3 content, definitely hit that subscribe button and we'll be bringing more to you. If you've made it this far, thank you again for watching. As always, happy hunting. We'll see you next time.